Hello, Jeff here. Few updates. One, I've been drinking tons of raw goat's milk because if you've only been eating meat and then you drink raw goat's milk, it basically tastes like candy. So I've been drinking a lot of that. I think it actually is affecting me now in a not good way, but it's way better than almost anything else. So I mean, processed dairy, I basically can't do at all. Can't seem to do any fruits, can't do honey, can't do any vegetables, can't do any grains. None of that stuff works in my system. And raw goat's milk has like a little bad effect on me, so I might try to phase it out on myself over time, but we'll see. So hopefully I'm going to give some to Evelyn next week because I get it on Sunday, so I got a while before I get it again. But I'm thinking she'll really like it, and it's really good nutrition, and because kids are designed more than adults to digest milk. And a lot of people that actually, most of the clients that get raw goat's milk are using it for babies, either because the mother is dry and can't nurse, or they're transitioning away from nursing and they want something healthy. Or processed milk is obviously not healthy at all. So very interesting. Humans are actually fairly neotenous. They're more childlike. They're childlike adults, and to a large extent, like dogs are like wolf puppies their entire life. Humans are kind of, to some extent, babies their entire life. They have a lot of neotenous features, so a lot of humans can digest milk for the rest of their life. And I mean, the goat's milk is not going bad, and it tastes delicious. So I'm not dropping it for now, but probably if I want to optimize health, I will have to at some point in the future. And I've been doing some other experiments and stuff like that. Eggs didn't seem to go great. I might try those again in the future, but they didn't go great this time. I tried to do some business writing to get some gigs on that level, and I got one. And I wrote up this article. I'll probably make a blog post on it, but I wrote up this article and they gave me almost no parameters, just like the subject that it had to be about and the length, and it had to have one link in it under a specific word. And I made it, and then I got this feedback that it was way too personal and kind of too much. I mean, it was almost said it was too good of writing. It needs to be more bland, essentially. It needed to be more bland, which was ironic and weird. I didn't think I would normally get that. My strength has been increasing some as of as of late, so that's pretty nice. And actually, check this out. So I used to do things like bend steel, and I've got tons of that. Right. There's another bolt, and stuff like this. I mean, these are from years ago before I made the Africa trip and got sick and had so many issues with my neck. And I mean, I did tons of stuff. All right, so uh, lots of cool stuff. And I used to be able to break bolts. As you can tell, that's a half a bolt because I'd broken it. And some of these, if you get like a 1/4 inch grade 2 bolt, which grade 2 bolts are the weaker ones, if you get a 1/4 inch grade 2 bolt threaded, I was actually able to break them with my bare hands, which was pretty cool. Uh, I went to the store a couple of times and bought them and then just broke them in front of the cashier because it was, it was when I was first doing it and it was interesting. It was cool. But since I've been feeling stronger, I was like, I wonder if I can do any of that type of stuff anymore because I lost this ability for a while. But here is a big old 60 penny nail, like a pole barn nail, essentially. So obviously pretty good size, right? And I mean, they're pretty darn strong. I mean, they hold pole barns together. So you wrap your hands, otherwise it really, well, you wrap this so it doesn't cut into your hands. I mean, I've done stuff like those bolts barehanded, but you often end up bleeding because it cuts in your hands pretty good. But I did one of these yesterday, and I probably shouldn't do very many of these with my neck because it'll throw my neck off, tensen up this much. But I wanted to do it because it's cool. All right, so I got it, and then, and it used to be easy. I used to be able to do this like it was butter. Now it's very hard. But What? So those are some strength gains, which is really cool, and just my system seems to be recovering a bit. I think that probably has somewhat to do with the diet adjusting my hormones, I think, because the bones being off in my brainstem messes up everything, obviously. I mean, you start pressing on the, right, if you took a needle and stuck it in your brainstem, it would mess some stuff up pretty bad. So I basically have two spots where there's pressure on my brainstem. And that's thrown off my hormones tremendously. And I think that, to a large extent, is why my muscles wouldn't heal before. Every time I would work out, I would just get weaker because you're damaging the muscles when you work out, and then when they recover, you're stronger. Well, mine basically wouldn't recover. I had like no recoverability ability. So it just wouldn't heal, which has to do with your immune system. Your immune system heals your muscles and fights off diseases and does all that stuff. And my muscles wouldn't heal. Very weird. So I've made some strength gains, which is cool. I have to be really careful with that. I can't work it too much because it'll throw off my neck. It doesn't affect like driving the car. Still throws off my neck because of the impact. Still can't walk because of the impact to my neck. Although my mother and I did go walk down to the beach. We just took the simple, easy, shortest path, but it was nice going out to the beach. I mean, I used to go for walks a lot, all the time, and now I can't. So it's nice doing that every now and then. I just had X-rays, and I had my consultation yesterday. And my cervical spine, there's a bunch of issues with my spine, right? But one of the issues in my cervical spine is that my upper vertebrae are rotated way, way off. Let's see, they're actually rotated that way, way, like a long ways. And over the last year of adjustments, we've moved that a few millimeters over. So millimeters matter when it comes to your spine. So especially when you're talking about bones around your brainstem, millimeters matter a lot. Millimeters are the difference between you being alive and dead in that area of your body. So, or having memory versus not having memory, that type of thing. Those millimeters are what have made the difference in some of my cognitive functioning issues and hormonal issues, strength issues, recovery issues, hand shaking issues, all those memory loss issues and working memory issues I've had. Some of what I've recovered from, some of what I've partially recovered from, but haven't fully recovered from / won't recover from. Found a new level type of thing. Anyways, the next thing I'm going to try is something I researched before, but I backed off it because I wasn't sure about it, and no one really is, is trying to restore cervical lordosis, which your cervical spine is just the spine in your neck, and lordosis is just the curve you're supposed to have, right? So it's supposed to curve forward, and your back cord curves out throughout the thoracic spine, in your middle of your back, essentially. It's called kyphosis, and then it curves back in the lumbar spine, the lower spine. So it's lordosis, kyphosis, lordosis. But my neck up here is basically straight. The thing is, there's almost no disc degeneration because of the deformities in my cervical spine. It could be that my neck was formed basically straight without too much of a curve to begin with. Because I don't have x-rays from when I was younger, we can't know. There's no way to really know. But it may be that by restoring, if I ever had it, some of the lordosis, some of that curve, it might stabilize my spine a little bit and help me take impact better. That's kind of my theory. I did a bunch of research on it, read a bunch of papers that I can't really remember right now, but I have them saved online. I think the information is even available on my website, jeffreyalexandermartin.com. If you go to the About page, I think I have information on Klippel-Feil syndrome, and mostly accumulated about my type or leaning towards my type of information. And in there, I have some information on restoring cervical lordosis. The issue is my C2 and C3 are fused, so it's pulling the back of C2 down, which moves the front of C1 up, and it has a little bony part that sticks up through, or C2 up, and it has a little bony part that sticks up through C1. Mine isn't formed like that because the C1 is partially fused to the skull, but that odontoid is already pulled back because it's fused in the back, so it's pulling down here, so it's pulling up and back up here, and that is pushing in the brainstem, disrupting the fluid that's supposed to flow through your spine and your brain, the cerebral spinal fluid. And my brainstem is kinked, right? The brainstem is supposed to kind of go like this, and then mine goes, it kinks around that. It formed around that, ever since I was a fetus. So that's just the way it is. But the closer that gets, the more it disrupts that cerebral spinal fluid, which would be bad. So if I take my neck and I go more like this, but the thing is, I can't keep my head like this. If they fuse my head, I might end up with some sort of issue like this. I'm not going to get surgery. I'd rather go with basically any other plan. I'd rather die. So things can go very bad with surgery. I'd rather take my chances with a different route than my chances with that, because the chances are very low anyways of having success. Basically none. They make lots of money off the surgeries, but that's about the only real benefit. But if I could, so sitting up straight, if I could bend my neck forward, I mean, I can't really do it sitting here, but the idea is to restore part of that curve. I'm wondering if that'll help restore some stability. So I'm going to be doing some light exercises in that direction, guiding it in that direction. They're not moving exercises, they're passive exercises to help rearrange the muscles and the bones structurally, and the tendons and the ligaments, obviously, which takes a very long time. But I'm going to give it a bit of a go and see how it goes. We'll see. So I started yesterday, and that'll be interesting. But otherwise, my spine hasn't degenerated at all. We've probably made some progress on it. We've kept it mostly straight. I mean, it's a little bit, there's little crooks and crinks in it, but my spine is wanting to work. When I first went to my friend Michael about the chiropractic stuff, he was very surprised that I could have such massive deformities and not have scoliosis, and attributed that a lot probably to all the fitness training and health stuff I've done, all that type of activity. And my spine has been trying to warp, has been trying to bend, it's been trying to turn into scoliosis, and I've found some stuff to fight that, essentially, and that's gone decently well. Let's see, what else? So I gave a speech on meditation, which I was filling in for someone else. A speaker had to leave the meeting, so I was like, hey, who can fill in? And I just thought about it for a couple of minutes, and then gave a speech, and I gave it on my 10-day meditation experience. And I hadn't given one on that because I didn't really want to dive into that subject publicly, I guess. But it did completely change my experience with pain and everything. So I had great feedback on that, and people really liked it, and you could tell people were really engaged and kind of moved by it, and it was very interesting. I thought that was very interesting, and I've always kind of thought that, well, for quite a number of years now, because I've had quite a bit of experience in meditation stuff, that it'd be interesting to start up like a group or to do some coaching on it, something like that. But ever since that speech, I've been thinking about that more. I've also been thinking about running some sort of great books program, and I thought about running a whole series, English as a Second Language series, on Harry Potter, but I was rejected by the one company that I was going to do that through, and so now I'm not doing it, obviously. But I was thinking about just running it as a great books program for people in the United States, or whoever wants to join on the internet, basically, but made for English speakers, instead of just as a second language program. And I'm studying what I consider great books anyways. I mean, my great books list is different than other people's great books list, that's for sure, and I think better and more interesting. But I might end up doing something with that. We'll see. I obviously have limited resources in every way that means, especially energy and health and money. And then I haven't heard back from the company in England about publishing my 2 stories yet. I mean, the odds are long on that. I don't know how many applicants they have, but I know that they are actually reviewing them, because I got an email from them recently that it's going to take longer than they were thinking originally. And I track my emails and know that they opened them several times, so they're actually looking at them and actually checking them out, which is cool. So, because I haven't submitted to any other publisher before, and it's just kind of interesting. We'll see we'll see what comes out of it. Anyways, that is all for now, and I will see you next time. Bye.